This is a Willets Point Shea Stadium bound 7 express train. The next and last stop is Willets Point, Shea Stadium.
Now, I've kind of been thinking about this, so this hypothetical I'm going to throw out there. Let's say the Mets miss out on Yamamoto.
Okay.
It's possible. There are other suitors out there we've talked about, and it's been talked about throughout all of, social media and sports media. If they miss out on Yamamoto, do you stick to the plan, as Stearns has stated, about, sticking with pitching, or do you pivot and take that money you would have given to Yamamoto, probably close to over $200 million, and put that into trying to sign Shohei Ohtani?
So the question behind that is which domino is going to fall first? And if we're basing recent reports as factual, Shohei Ohtani is expected to be off the market before Yamamoto, and it could be by quite a bit. We're talking early winter meetings, if not sooner. Or where
we're talking as quick as Judge was.
Yeah. I think Ohtani is not going to stretch this out too long. I'll go even a step further and say that I think that there are significant negotiations already going on with Ohtani right now, that they're just doing a good job on keeping indoors. So for that reason, it's hard to say, okay, if they don't get Yamamoto, should they go all in on Ohtani? Of course, I would say that to a degree, but I don't foresee us being in that situation. So it's a little hard to gauge. But what I will say is that if the Mets lose out on Yamamoto, right, like what's plan B from the rotation aspect? And that's a big question because, again, Yamamoto is a completely different profile than anyone out there. When you look at the free agent market, there are a couple of names that I know the Mets either like or very well could find themselves reportedly liking in the near future. And that is headlined by a guy that they scouted very well in Shota Imanaga, in which Billy Epler, of course, knows quite a bit about. David Stearns, I'm curious how much homework he's done since then. Another name that fans should not sleep on, which shouldn't shock you if you hear more of him and potential connection with the Mets in the near future, is Jordan Montgomery. Monty didn't just look phenomenal all year long and in postseason, but he is a younger version of Jose Quintana. You get at least 6 innings every single start out of him, of 2 to 3 earned run ball, if not less, every fifth day. Like, he is Mr. Consistent. And while he, of course, is around 30, and you don't love the idea of giving like a 30-year-old, say a 7-year contract, because no one expects those to age well, there's also something to be said about you have to give to get with today's market. And I think there's a willingness level with the Mets there that I'm curious to see if we'll hear more out of, because Monty thrived with the Yanks. He understands the big market. That could be appealing. Shota Imanaga, why would he be appealing? Well, he's projected to get a very similar contract to Kodai Senga. And if we've heard anything, Senga has been a success. Why wouldn't Imanaga too? I mean, I would love to bring every Japanese pitcher in here, but the only issue is that would cause probably a little bit too much of a problem, knowing that these guys need a 6-man as is. If you bring in 1, and if you bring in 2, that's an even taller task. So when you look at the free agent market, it's very top heavy. I expect the Mets to be involved there regardless on Yamamoto where he lands. Obviously, the players that they get may dictate depending on if they land him. But the trade market as well, Tyler Glass now is a rental. How much interest do the Mets have there? You could say, hey, this makes a lot of sense for a guy that is owed $25 million this year. The Rays aren't going to pay. You don't have to give up a terrible amount to get him as a rental, but you're also investing in a rental that just had a career year, pitching only 120 innings. Then you have other trade options out there like Corbin Burns, but is Milwaukee going to not be stubborn? It's hard to believe that. I think they're going to just ride him out and either trade him at the trade deadline or...
Especially with the Mets.
Exactly. Part with him in the offseason. Yeah, David Stearns knows a thing or two about Burns, and that's a part why I don't see it happening, actually. And then you have a Dylan Cease, who has 2 years of control in his contract. Hot commodity, the Braves, the Dodgers, they love the guy. They're in trade talks for him right now. Mets should be involved there, too, because he has more control. But Cease is also coming off of a very underwhelming second half of 2023. Velo tick was a little bit down. Horizontal break and the slider was a little down. So I guess what I'm alluding to is that while there are certainly options out there, Yamamoto just sticks out like a sore thumb. It's hard to view him otherwise, given all the factors we've discussed in today's show.